Okay. Good morning. My name is Shalom Entner. I am a fourth year PhD candidate at the biology department, and I did my internship this summertime at Resources for the Future for the Young Environmental Fellows Program. Resources for the Future is a environmental economics firm, and they consider all of policy and legislation, both on the state and federal level. So I was given the opportunity to make my own product this summer, and I wrote an issue brief on state legislation for extended producer responsibility for plastic packaging materials. So how did I get here? So I made my own project. I did a really big literature review on plastic pollution, which I studied deep for my PhD dissertation work. And I was seeing a lot of evidence towards a lot of pollution coming from various countries, a lot of pollution coming from America and being landfilled. So I was thinking, like, I see this problem a lot, I see this problem. What are the solutions we're looking at to solve the problem, work towards solutions? So I looked at state level legislation concerning plastics. I saw a lot of preemptive regulation for bag bans, which is essentially a outlaw of bag bans so that municipalities cannot implement them, which is not the best because bag bans have been observed to reduce coastal pollution. I also saw quite a few packaging extended producer responsibility programs, container deposit systems for bottles and aluminum cans, bag taxes, expanded polystyrene restrictions, and bag bans. So I saw all of these. I decided to focus on packaging extended producer responsibility programs to see what those look like on a state level in America. So the EPR process, extended producer responsibility from now on, will be referred to as EPR. In the EPR processing, it promotes a circular economy. So retailers sell the product, consumers buy the product, producer is then responsible for collecting the product back and either reusing it, using any components of it, or whatever else is considered a responsible end market of the product. 3 states have legislation for EPRs: Maine, Oregon, and California. Oregon and California kind of use each other's to make their own. So theirs are very similar, have a lot of similarities, as does Maine, but they took things a little bit different approach with assessments once the legislation is passed to create their rules and resources for the law to ensure compliance, which then goes into a report and then it's then reviewed. So we're promoting the circular economy and trying to enforce this on a state level. So some common elements. Producer responsibility organizations are the kind of managing organization for manufacturers. Manufacturers have to register with these organizations and report everything they do to them, more or less. Any money they spend, any money they make, all sorts of things. So there are audits and assessments. The assessments already mentioned earlier. Audits include litter and disposal to ensure that it's having a positive environmental impact as well. Commercial materials include single-use plastic packaging. Some of them include paper, and some of them include foodware coverage, but that's not all of them. And they all have very high recycling goals of about at 70% by 2050. There's also reuse and reduce, reuse, and recycling goals. Those are all existing in these EPRs. The consumer education is a big focus to make sure that consumers understand where their trash is going, where their waste is going. So even though they have these common elements, they also have different approaches, the main one being responsible in markets. California and Oregon both leverage this verbiage quite a bit so that they do not have to spell out in the legislation for the manufacturers and for the PROs what to do with the waste. They instead create this verbiage around responsible in markets being responsible ways to get rid of the waste, essentially. So whether that's recycling or incineration or landfilling, whatever is determined for that kind of plastic, however many times it has been recycled, that is responsible in market. Food service coverage does not exist in Maine's EPR. It used to. It was removed earlier this year in a amendment to the bill, but it exists in both Oregon and California. Countries have EPRs that have been observed to have positive economic impacts, positive environmental impacts, and positive impacts on their community. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and listening to my talk. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a great